are you an atheist?
For all practical purposes, yes. Nobody can actually say for certain that anything doesn't exist. But I'm an atheist in the same way as I'm an a-leprechaunist and an a-fairyist and an a-pink unicornist.
So you're not 100% sure God doesn't exist, but you're sure enough to make it practically...
I'm as sure as you are sure that fairies and leprechauns don't exist.
And do you see an equivalence between the idea of God and the idea of a fairy and a leprechaun?
The evidence for both is equally poor.
Way, as we know more and more that, and it seems harder and harder to prove that anything might exist like that, where does that leave us?
On our own.
Why don't you take something away from people, from 95, that gives meaning to 95% of the American people, and replace it with something that gives meaning to just 5% of the American people?
Well, what an incredibly stupid question.
Well, my question, it's like, is there a purpose for, I mean, given all these demotions, why don't we just blow ourselves up?
Why don't we?
Yeah, what is our purpose? I mean...
Let me turn the question around. If we do blow ourselves up, does that disprove the existence of God?
No, I guess not.
I mean, it'll be a little late to make the discovery, but still.
Yeah. I guess...
Playmates don't go to that church, and therefore will go to hell, seems to me to be an unpleasant thing to be saying. But
yes, that is...
Maybe I'm in a minority then.
That could be an unpleasant thing, but how do you develop...
Actually, an evil thing to be saying.
Let's call it evil, Christopher.
Something that only a religious person would dream of saying.
Let's call it evil. Where does evil come from?
Religion.
Yes,
Please?
so this...
Okay, good question.
Being that anyone with moral and intellectual fortitude who looks at the evidence of that day sees that no Al-Qaeda jihadi had the means to schedule the war games that actually stood down our...
right there.
No. Yeah, that's not right.
Being that any
Wasting your time.
Being that any member of Al-Qaeda had no motive to anthrax the leading opponents of the Patriot Act.
Wasting your time. I'm not going to answer you.
Why won't you answer?
You can speak.
So here's the question.
You can
Being
speak.
that you are an intellectual and now that
you can speak. I'm not bothering with you. I have no time to waste on people like you. Stop it. I can't make you stop. I can't make you stop, but when you stop, it's all over.
Are you going to answer me?
No, sir, I'm not.
Do you believe it? Do you believe
No, sir, I am not. No. Or am I going to buy... I'm not going to buy a pencil from your cup either. No, I'm not. That's correct. I'm not.
Way in the back there, the gentleman way in the back. Thank you.
Good evening.
That was a big wow from a small mind. Forget it. I have no time to waste on people like you.
Very.
Don't.
He's insulting me. He's insulting me. I can't respond to
No, leave him alone. Leave him alone as long as he stays quiet. He had his turn. You heard his question. I'm not wasting my time on him. Next.
What if you're wrong?
Well, what if I'm wrong? I mean, anybody could be wrong. We could all be wrong about the flying spaghetti monster and the pink unicorn and the flying teapot. You happen to have been brought up, I would presume, in the Christian faith. You know what it's like not to believe in a particular faith because you're not a Muslim, you're not a Hindu. Why aren't you a Hindu? Because you happen to have been brought up in America, not in India. If you'd been brought up in India, you'd be a Hindu. If you were brought up in Denmark in the time of the Vikings, you'd be believing in Wotan and Thor. If you were brought up in classical Greece, you'd be believing in Zeus. If you were brought up in Central Africa, you'd be believing in the great Juju up the mountain. I mean, there's no particular reason to pick on the Judeo-Christian God in which by the sheerest accident you happen to have been brought up and ask me the question, what if I'm wrong? What if you're wrong about the great Juju at the bottom of the sea?
As a
person.
That's different. If it helps you, that's
absolutely.
great.
And
But
I'm
that
sticking
doesn't
it.
mean it's true.
Well, it's true for me. You see, I believe.
You mean true for you is different from true for anybody else? How
Yeah,
can something be
absolutely,
true for you?
because I can't
Something's
prove-
either got to be true or not.
I can't. No. I can't prove to you that Jesus is God. So that truth is mine and mine alone. But you can't prove to me that Jesus is not. So you have to stay in your little
You can't
belief
prove
system.
that Zeus is not. You can't prove that Apollo is not. Or
Well, I
Mithras
saw
is not.
Apollo, man. He was down there. He's not looking good. Now, we also.
I mean, do you actually believe in your Muslim faith? Do you believe that Muhammad split the moon in two? Do you believe that Muhammad flew to heaven on a winged horse, for example? I pay you the compliment of assuming that you don't.
No, I do. I believe in miracles.
You believe that?
Yes.
You believe that Muhammad went to heaven on a winged horse?
Yes, I believe in God. I believe in miracles. I believe in revelation. I mean, the point here is that let's assume I'm wrong, Richard. I'm wrong.
Let's.
Let's assume I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I'm happy to concede that, Richard. I'm happy to concede it. I'm wrong. All religions are wrong. God does not exist. We're all mad.
I care about what's true. I'm an educator. I'm a scientist. And I want people to understand the truth about the universe in which they live. That's what I care about. And I regard religion as a distraction, and in some cases a pernicious distraction from true education, which I love and value the way you value and love your God.
Can you not do both?
Well, so long as they don't contradict
There's always a
each
divide,
other.
Richard.
So long as they don't
divide.
contradict each other. But if you actually believe Muhammad flew to heaven on a winged horse, that's an anti-scientific belief.
And that could be wrong.
But it bloody well is wrong.
But that doesn't change. That doesn't change. How do you know it's wrong?
Oh, come on. You're a man of the 21st century.
No, I'm just asking. It comes back to my original question. The rational position is the agnostic. The rational position is the agnostic position.
Why up there? What, I mean,
the rational position. I didn't say up there. I didn't pick a place.
Okay,
You
well,
picked a place.
why would a winged horse be the way to get to heaven if it's not up there?
I asked a question about. You asked about proof. I'm all for saying I can't prove it, but can you prove he didn't do it? I mean, this is
Can I
the
prove
end-all
he
debate.
didn't fly to heaven on a winged horse?
I'm just asking on your criteria.
If evolution had occurred, then surely, whether it's going from birds to mammals or even beyond that, surely there'd be at least one evidence.
Massive amount of evidence.
Show me the evidence.
Show me the evidence. Show me the evidence. Right. Show me the evidence. Show me the evidence. Show me. Show me the evidence. Show me the evidence. Where did you study science? Show me the evidence. Show me the evidence.
There is not evidence.
Show evidence. It works, bitches.
Those who ask confessions from other people should be willing to make oneself. I am obsessed with sex. Ever since I discovered that my God-given male member was going to give me no peace, I decided to give it no rest in return. Seems fair to me. What if you get... Take it as a comment. I can see your face, I can see your hair, and I can see you sitting in an audience with young gentlemen. Don't you tell me you can do any of that in Iran.
I can, though.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you cannot.
I can. In Iran, in the Islamic Republic of Iran, where I have been, my hair would be out. My hair would be out because my veil would be little. My hair would be out. It may be covered a little bit, but just like in the Bible, in the letter to the Corinthians, it says to cover your head, to be modest.
It's a shame she spoiled what could have been a perfectly good statement.
Oh, right, okay, I'm sorry. Modesty would be there. I mean, you've been talking about these cheap jokes and things throughout this whole conversation, but you're the only one making the cheap comments.
You insult your sisters in Tehran who are being beaten,
Astaghfirullah,
and raped every day when you say that they have their rights in the
insult my
Islamic
Muslim
Republic.
sisters. I do not insult
It's an
my
insult to the women of Iran.
I do not. Astaghfirullah.
The philosophical underpinnings of medicine in the same way. If you're continually vomiting, you should go to the doctor and get X, Y, and Z. But that just assumes you don't want to continually vomit.
Yeah, it does, exactly.
What about the person who wants to continually vomit?
But that's an assumption. I mean, your example was, if I want to live longer, then I should. But not everybody does want to live longer.
But that's shorthand for a whole suite of concerns that everyone recognizes are the only intelligible discussion about human health. And now if we can find one person who says, listen, I like vomiting, I like continuous pain, and I'd like to die tomorrow, he's not offering an alternate medical, health-based worldview that we have to take seriously. He just doesn't get invited back to the conference about medicine.
But
So it could be with the Conference on Morality. That's all.
His government, named members of his government, have been caught sponsoring death squads. He's lied. He's lied to the European Union about his nuclear program.
But you know that a lot
he says he believes the Messiah is about to come back. Who's looking for a war here?
So does George Bush, by the way.
President Bush has said...
That's not facetious.
That's not facetious. Your audience, which will clap apparently anything, is frivolous.
I'm just saying that...
I've been on the Jon Stewart show, I've been on your show, I've seen you make about 5 George Bush IQ jokes per night. There's no one I know who can't do it. You know what I think? This is now the joke that stupid people laugh at. It's a joke that any dumb person can laugh at because they think they're smarter, they could prove they're smarter than the president. Like the people who make booing and mooing noises in your audience.
But sometimes it's a...
None of whom are smarter than the president.
But sometimes a cigar...
The term non-local, the use was not correct, and the correlations of the, I don't know, the pacemaker and the different electrical things going on.
I happen to disagree, by the way.
Oh, I assume you did, since you said that.
You know, you're encouraged. I happen to disagree.
I would love to, I'd love to talk about it.
I think consciousness is non-local.
I'm sorry?
I think consciousness is non-local.
Consciousness. Oh.
Is non-local.
Yeah, you know, I've never really run across a definition of consciousness that I understood. So maybe you could teach me something, and I can.
A superposition of possibilities.
Okay. Well, all right. I know what each of those words means. I still don't think I know it.
I'm right now talking to a conscious being.
I'm sorry?
I'm speaking to a conscious being.
I hope so.
Even though the conscious being is pretending to be a physicist.
Is pretending?
Pretending means pretending in the larger context. You are an infinite being who's taken on the identity of a physicist.
Yeah.
In religion, I would say that diabolical science has the capacity to actually destroy the world faster than any religion.
Sam, go ahead.
Because we still have ancient habits and we have modern capacities.
Sam?
So true lucrative science will be the science that actually helps us heal the world.
Sam, what do you...
Well, again, this is, it's a play on words. Whenever you're talking about scientific fundamentalism or diabolical science, we have a problem with technology. Much of our technology can be extremely destructive, and in the wrong hands, and rather often those hands are religious hands. It becomes incredibly dangerous. So we have people with 14th century worldviews who now have access to incredibly destructive technology.
We're almost out of time.
But
so I'm gonna do my best.
this is the point to take on board. The remedy, there's such a thing as bad science. There's such a thing as scientific fraud. There's such a thing as incomplete science. The remedy for all of those things is more science and better science and further scientific discussion. It is never religion.